So let's talk about sitting postures. First of all, notice that I'm sitting on a fold-up chair, and I think that's a really good thing for you to have if you decide that you really aren't comfortable sitting on the floor. In any event, I want to use the chair just to show you what to do with your spine and how to actually sit, and then we'll get down on the floor and do the sitting postures on the floor, and we can talk about leg posture at that point. So the very first thing is to be sitting on the front third or half of the chair so that your back is nowhere near to the back of the chair. You're supporting yourself in this posture. You want your feet to be flat on the floor and basically pointing straight forward, as are your knees. You're not sitting with your legs spread. You've got your legs at a nice 90-degree angle. Now, there's a really great book and DVD called Chi Walking, and they recommend an exercise that I think is really helpful for getting your back straight. You want to take your middle finger and your thumb and just slip them underneath your collarbones, and then place your other hand on your belly and just separate your hands. And in a sense, what that does is helps you to straighten and lift your back. In Zen training, they often suggest that you picture that there's a string tied to the top of your head and that it's pulling upward to help you to maintain that straight up posture. Now, I want you to put one hand on the small of your back and another hand on your lower belly, and just visualize tipping your pelvis forward just a little bit by pushing forward with the back hand and pushing back with the front hand, and that helps to get your pelvis aligned. Now, you should be straight up and down along this line, and we get to that place by doing just a little bit of rocking. So we can slide to one side and to the other. And what we're doing is feeling for where the center is. When it feels like we're there, then we'll start to rock forward and back, doing exactly the same thing, trying to find that center spot, which is right about there. Now our backs are straight and tall, and we're centered over our pelvis and sitting down firmly. And now we can then just cross our hands and begin to meditate. Okay, so now let's talk about sitting on the floor. There's really 4 positions that you can take on the floor, each one a little more complicated or a little more interesting than the one before. I want to show you all 4, but I certainly do have my preferences. Let me show you, first of all, the way that I normally sit. I really like kneeling posture, and it's sort of like a little bit like what I'm doing right now. I'm just sitting on my heels on the floor. The nice part about using cushions is that you don't have to sit on your heels, and your feet don't get as sore as they do sitting this way. So I'm just going to stand and then sit back down again. And I'm going to reach back with my left foot and just go to one side of the zafu, or the top pillow, and then kneel, bring the other foot around, and then sit. Now I'm going to readjust my cushion so that it's just at the back of my butt. I'm not sitting with it up here in my knees. It's quite well back. You'll notice that my feet are flat on their tops, knees pointing forward. And once again, we'll do what we did a minute ago when we were talking about sitting on a chair, and that is to straighten up. So I'll put one hand here, my fingers here, and lift myself to a straight position. And because I'm sitting on the cushion, my pelvis is already slightly tilted forward, which is as it should be. Again, we rock to side and find the center, and we rock front to back, looking for the center. And once we find it, our way of holding our hands is to place the right hand down, place the left hand on top of it, and just gently touch the thumbs together. The thumbs actually become a really great indicator for any kind of tension that you're carrying in your body. If you notice as you're breathing and sitting and meditating that all of a sudden you're really pressing your thumbs together, it's a really good indication that your whole body is tight. So you can have a breath and just relax your hands again so that the thumbs are just barely touching. Now, as to head position, I could have mentioned this earlier. Let's go back to this posture. We'll put our middle finger and our thumb underneath our clavicles, or underneath our collarbones, and then extend the index finger and touch the chin just down a bit. So my chin is now touching my finger, and my head is now just tipped down a couple of degrees. I'm looking straight ahead, about 5 to 6 feet in front of me, and I'm keeping my eyes open. In Zazen, in Zen meditation, our eyes are always open and kept soft. This is because we don't want to escape into our minds and go drifting off into silliness and all of the thoughts that go on in our heads. We want to actually be able to take our meditation into our lives 24/7. So this would be the full posture, kneeling. Now, let me just shift, and I won't get up for all of these. In each case, it's traditional to step back with your left leg and then to come around with your right. Another pose is called Burmese, and it's the easiest of the cross-legged poses. So let me straighten my legs out here. So you would end up back on your cushion and bring your left foot in. I'll just get this one out of the way for the moment, so that your ankle is directly below your crotch. And you'll notice that my leg is flat on the ground. I want the support of this knee on the ground. So it's not up here, it's flat. Now this leg just comes across and crosses in front. So my foot is up against my calf here, and again you notice my knee is down on the ground. Again, I draw myself up into a full position, feeling that pull to the top of my head, feeling my chest expand, and I cross my hands the same way. Now you notice the major difference in sitting in cross-legged poses is my legs are farther down than they were when I was sitting kneeling. And so my hands want to do this, and this is really awkward to be down here. I'm actually too far. Let me just grab another cushion. Be right back. So what you can do if you there we go. If you find that your hands are dropping, is put another cushion on your lap and then place your hands so that they're just about at your navel. That's a comfortable position and you won't feel any strain. Okay. The other two poses are your traditional half and full lotus pose. North Americans aren't really designed, I don't think, to do full lotus easily. It's a long and arduous process to learn to sit that way without having a lot of knee pain. People, if you want to learn to do lotus, I would suggest starting with half lotus. And I'm just going to snap into this rather than stretch my legs back out. So it's about just taking, and I suggest you actually alternate, one foot up. And so the foot is actually sitting pretty close to the line between my abdomen and my leg, and pretty much sort of on its back, and the other foot is tucked either underneath or just in front. And again, both knees are on the ground, the floor, or on the zabuton. And again, same as before, and if your hands are too low, you may want to grab a pillow. Full lotus is the same thing with this foot up here. And again, it's wanting to be with the knees in a bit, so I'm kind of pushing in, and both feet basically lying, not on their sides like this, but pretty much on the back. I think I just said this, but the knees really do need to be down on the ground. So if you notice that you're sitting and the best you can do is something like this, you notice immediately what's happening. I'm going to fall over. And your hands in the same posture, straightening your back once again.